controversial cheeky freak of the week, where Carl finds a human being with some sort of congenital or imposed deformity, or So and we talk about that in a wry way. Do you think that's big and clever?
No, but that's just it. It's never about taking the mickey out of someone, right? It's to make you think.
I'll tell you what isn't big and clever.
How lucky you are.
A dwarf with learning difficulties.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
we'll explain it to you. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. He Wants You.
Brilliant. Yeah. So, Carl, off you go.
Well, we're not going to do Freak of the Week here,
okay?
Right? Because we've done quite a bit of that in the last 20 minutes.
We've
right?
OD'd on freaks, you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll just shift it a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't, like I keep saying, don't want people to be thinking we're sort of taking the mick out of anyone.
No.
Right? Because we're not about that. I feel that, like, I can do a little bit of it because I work with you, Steve.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It gives me that right.
It's like a care worker. Yeah, I understand.
Well, it's like that thing of you can't be homophobic because I've got a couple of gay mates and stuff.
Sure.
I think it sort of gives me that edge.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're not freakophobic because you work with Steve?
No, that's right, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, by that token, I should be able to sort of slag off, the mentally ill. Or at least mentally handicapped.
Now, there's a term you don't hear very often. In 2003, the
mentally handicapped. Isn't that what it was?
I don't know where to start.
But
I'd like to apologise for the Lady Diana stuff, the term mentally handicapped, and any inadvertent racism that we may have stumbled over.
What's the actual term then? Is it retarded?
Right, are we having Cheeky Freak of the Week?
Do you want to do it?
What time have you got to shoot off?
Could do with shooting off sort of soonish.
Okay.
To be honest.
This is not radio. Have you ever heard that on a radio show? Chris Tarrant going, I can't shoot off right now. I couldn't get a later train.
I know! Why did you get a later train? There isn't a later train. So I couldn't get to Cornwall tonight if I had to. If I had to finish this show, I couldn't possibly get to Cornwall.
Rubbish. Of course there's a later train.
Oh, I've booked it now anyway.
Right, well that's the point, isn't it? Yeah, you're not falling
through. Whatever, I don't think the show's lost anything. I think we've still had the, Freak of the Week's coming up now.
Oh, cheeky Freak of the Week.
Right, well, we've had some interesting things we've been looking at. This week, it's about the strangest couple that ever got married.
and we've had 2 sets of chimps, so it's stranger than that. Oh, it's not Dale Winton and Nell McAndrew, is it?
It's not your parents, is it?
Well, we're going back again to about, I think this is about
something like that.
1940.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Strangest couple, a fella, right? He had skin of a lizard.
He had the skin of a lizard, okay.
And the woman who he married.
Which he used as a condom.
The woman who he married.
Yeah.
Airiest woman ever.
Right.
And that was their act. They used to tour the world, and they'd say, it's like, couple who've met, they're having a great life. Let's get them out on stage, here they are. And they'd
what do you mean he had a skin of a lizard, first of all?
That's what it said, he had some sort of, some illness.
So he was called Lizard Man, and you like that because it was good description.
I thought that's good.
I'm here, hello, we've booked a table for 2. Who are you meeting? I'm meeting Lizard Man. Oh, he's over there.
Yeah.
You know he is, right?
Yeah.
I'm meeting the hairiest woman in the world. She's over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did they do for their act?
Now bear in mind that we had some Siamese twins last week, and their act was having a bath.
yeah.
So I hope it's an improvement on that.
What did Lizard Man? He came out and ate some flies, did he?
I don't really know. I just think they stood there and that.
Yeah, when you read this and it goes the most interesting fact ever, Lizard Man, and you go, that's enough. That's enough. I can extrapolate from that.
But straight away I'm thinking, right, I wonder if they got the wedding photos. Right? And then, like it said that they had a kid.
Oh, what would that be like?
Exactly.
It'd be like an ostrich, wouldn't it? It would sort of like.
That's what I was thinking.
What did you think it would come out like, the baby?
I didn't think what that looked like. I just was thinking, oh, parents' evening.
You wouldn't want them coming up to the school, would you?
So,
Well, that's
so
the
little
problem.
Johnny, who starts off relatively normal, he's quite good at, he's good at nature,
Yeah.
isn't he? And his mum and dad come into the room and they'd be looking round, wouldn't they?
Well, it's always like that thing at school when, like, you find out your mate's mum and dad are really old.
Right,
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
When you go, your gran and granddad bought you?
Yeah.
No, mum and dad.
Yeah.
And you go, oh.
It is weird.
What's that we're talking about? He calls him mum. What was that? Oh, sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like-
that's always strange.
I just-
If you had Godzilla and King Kong as your parents,
Yeah.
and it was
they're
like you
always
say-
fighting.
They're always fighting, and like you say, you're in a school play or something. You wouldn't tell them, would you? You wouldn't want them coming up with a video camera.
He didn't tell his parents he was in the... When we were,
Well, exactly.
You did Little Donkey and you didn't tell your dad, did you? And he came along and videoed it.
Yeah.
Was
kept
that-
it quiet, don't want them to know anything.
But you didn't... What was it you was meant to be playing? You had a little drum, didn't you?
Yeah, I was doing, I had a little drum. I think I was meant to be playing We Three Kings.
Yeah.
But, he started doing Little Donkey and I thought, I can add a touch to this.
Sure, you improvised.
Started playing along
It was like the
with
first
Yeah.
remix, wasn't it?
It went down well. But yeah, that's all I was thinking with, the Freak of the Week this week. That's what I'm saying about Freak of the Week. It's to get people thinking, right? Thinking how lucky they are. That, they don't have to...
Comb their face. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Freak of the Week is to let people know how lucky they are.
Just...
What about the little freak you're talking about? What are they thinking? They're going, oh, he's talking about me. I'm a little hairy lizard man on a stick.
Pop in, give us a call. That's what I'd like to do on a TV programme. That's what I want to do. I want to go and, like, meet these people and say, right, let's just go shopping, we'll film what your normal day's like.
Yeah.
Let's pop out. Nip into Sainsbury's or whatever.
Yeah.
Buy a comb.
Park right up close to it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what you're saying is you just want to get a little message out there, which is that there's always someone worse off than you.
Well, there's proof of that in this room. You know what I mean?
I just think it's a shambles. I've asked for Cheeky Freak of the Week, and it appears that Carl's not ready. He's not prepared.
No, I can sort of remember it. It's just that I like to have all the information.
Contempt for
But
the
you've just
listener.
you've just had a whole bunch of adverts and placebo in order to get you ready.
We're chatting, we're having a chat and that.
Right, do you want to sort yourself out in future?
Yeah, someone that's what we were chatting about. Someone emailed in about they watched the £200 tumour thing, and when it was removed, it was carried away in a wheelbarrow, right? Carl said, what, even when she had it removed, she still carried it round in a wheelbarrow? And he went, I thought it's sort of like she'd become attached to it. You definitely are my favourite thing in the world. It's great. Look at the way he's looking back.
But I think they're all the same. The people, I mean, I have had more emails about people saying I watched the £200 tumour
and I shaved me arse
than anything else.
I know.
When we ask questions
we come
about
up
science,
with science,
Shakespeare,
we talk, yeah.
nothing,
High
silence.
concept, we talk about political issues.
One person emailed in, they said, I tuned into the £200 tumour documentary, it looked disgusting, I couldn't watch for long. What were you expecting?
Yeah.
That it might sing and dance? Do a little show for you?
Oh,
Anyway, so what's the
these are
situa-
really your listeners, Carl, now. I think you know what I mean? You sort of, you find your niche, you attract your... I think me and Steve are pretty much just here.
I think the people that we had in the early days, Rick, they've long since abandoned us. They jumped ship.
They've got jobs.
Yeah.
They've got jobs. They're out now. They've been released.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're getting their life back together.
Carl,
Come
so
on,
what's the
Carl.
situation with Cheeky Freak?
I've got like a couple of bits. Like I say, I haven't got the in-depth stuff that I know.
Oh no, because usually it's it's
Heavily
pretty
researched.
scientific. Exactly. Yeah. Do the jingle. We've come up with a new one, haven't we?
The Freak! Say chic!
Cheeky Freak of the Week.
Right. Well, couple of bits. I don't know which one to use as the main feature for this week.
It's that good, is it?
Well, there's been another one born.
What?
Little kid.
You go on.
4 eyes.
Insult? Just a guy who wears glasses, come on.
4 eyes, 2 noses, 2 mouths. That's weird, isn't it?
This bloke, did he also have 2 heads, 2 bodies? Sort of born sort of slightly separately?
He wasn't stood next to a mirror.
No, it's weird, that, isn't it?
That's all you've got, is it?
I love that. That's weird. That. Imagine if the doctor said that. Well, Mrs. Parks, kid's got 4 eyes and 2 noses. Weird, isn't it? Any clues? Any clues?
So that's it.
That's
All the
one.
information.
Well, I'll tell you what,
No,
that,
but
that
again-
shouldn't be the main one. Okay,
No,
I've answered
but
your
like I
question.
say, what's the idea of this feature? What do I say all the time?
Don't know.
I always say, think about it. Think about what that would be like.
Okay.
What? Giving birth to him?
No. Being, I think it's a girl. Being like her. 2 mouths. 4 eyes. What would that be like? Mad, innit?
I don't know what this feature is.
I don't know why. Is there another one? Is that you said?
I mean, I hope everyone took the opportunity there during that silence to just think about what it would be like. I know I was.
What?
Could she talk with a mouthful?
What?
Is that allowed?
Because she's got 2 mouths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be alright in her house?
She'd be eating.
Yeah,
one,
she could talk with one mouth and eat with the other. I
Right, but
suppose.
listen, the main one, right? You've thought about that. That's good. The main cheeky freak of the week. I haven't got all the details. Smallest person ever. Right. How big would you say that is?
Carl is now sort of like holding his hands up like a fisherman, long ways. That's about 1 foot.
Right. Smallest man in the world. I printed the thing off and I can't find it. There's a little picture of him. Right. The odd thing was,
But why have you asked me? How did it say, or was it a picture of him?
I didn't really read it.
Of course you
Oh,
didn't.
for
Of course you didn't.
Jesus!
I just saw it and thought, oh, that's
What?
that,
You
that's
straight away
sorted.
assumed it was natural size.
Is that big?
But what do you mean it was that big?
Little fella like that.
But why are you doing that? What? It was a page with a little fella. How do you know that was natural size?
No, it was because it said it's world's smallest man. And the funny thing is, I've read the first line. I always read the first line. It said world's
Well
smallest
done.
man.
Well done.
The weird thing is, he got an head like a light bulb. The shape of it, apparently. I don't know if that's got anything to do with his shape and size.
Oh God!
That big.
His name's Mr. Watts.
And the annoying thing is, what got me is, if you're that big,
Yeah.
right, don't have your picture taken next to a fruit bowl.
Why was he having his photo taken next to a fruit bowl?
Don't know. Whoever the photographer was, obviously having a bit of a laugh
Yeah.
at his expense. Because you would just stand in the middle of nowhere, you'd look normal and that, but he was stood there, just leaning on an apple.
Leaning on an apple.
What is this? In what world do you inhabit?
No, this was on the internet. And I printed it off.
Not an apple. Was it Tom Thumb? What is this? Are you sure it wasn't that some sort of sci-fi show they were advertising?
No, it was
Leaning on it. Can you? Sorry, can you just lean on the apple? Just lean on the apple there. Do me a favour. Will you stand next to my chihuahua? You're not taking the piss, are you? No, not at all. No. Would you mind leaning on this matchbox?
Yeah.
Leaning on an apple. And that's what, so he just said he's the world's smallest man leaning on an apple.
smallest man, said about his head being like a light bulb. I don't know what that meant. And I just thought, right, that'll do. That's that sorted. Cheeky Freak of the Week done. I think that was on like Monday. Right? I found that. I thought that's done. Printed it off. Forgot to get it off the photocopier. Someone's nicked it.
Play a record.
You got to.
You know, it's just, Steve.
No, can I just say,
there's no
no, Carl,
point.
please,
There's no
if
point.
I say, let's have Cheeky Freak of the Week, and you haven't done your research, you haven't got the information, just tell us you can't do it. But don't lead us on.
Don't say things
in
like
this
on
charade.
radio, hold your hand up to me and go, how tall is that?
It's nothing.
That's
this is
radio.
nothing.
It's nothing. I think it was that big because he was leaning on an apple.
It's not enough information.
But imagine Trevor McDonald coming on, going some news, some stuff. How big's that? How big do you think that is?
Yeah.
Because there was a fella, coming up after Chris Tarrant. Play a record.
I'm angry. I'm actually angry.
What could you, if I said, right, quick, you've got to come up with top 5 things, what would it be?
I mean, I'm into weird stuff, but it seems a bit tight to stick them in a list.
What, like what?
Well, like, sort of freaky people and that. I've got that freak book. But I don't know if they'd be happy if I call one of them up and said, good news, you're at number 1, because you've got 4 legs or whatever. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, then, this is the exclusive Ricky Gervais guide to Shortlist magazine, Karl Pilkington Top 5 Freaks, in at number 5.
So you've got to work backwards, haven't you? I've got to know what my number 1 is.
I think you
say
do work
number 5.
backwards.
Probably something not too good at number 5, but it's still interesting. Lighthouse Man.
Who's that?
Lighthouse Man?
What's Lighthouse Man?
It's a fellow with a hole in his head. and he, what he does, rather than moan about it, sticks a candle in it.
Shut up. What are you talking about?
Sticks a candle in it.
What are you talking about? Where is the hole?
I bet he didn't call himself Lighthouse Man, did he?
Well, I don't know. It's just what he got nicknamed because he had this hole. Doctors were like, "There's nothing we can do. Can't fill it." He thought, "What can I do with it?" And it was of the days when there was no electric and that. You had to walk about with a candle. So hang on a minute.
I can have both
Got a
hands
little
for
candle
you.
holder here. Stuck a candle in it. And he just got nicknamed the Lighthouse Man. So again, it's not that amazing, but I like the way he was sort of energy efficient.
Didn't he have, like, wax dripping on his head?
No, because it all went into the hole. So in
What?
a way, it was filled in.
What do you mean? It wasn't a hole, though. It was a dip, surely.
No, a big hole.
Yeah, but not a hole through the skull with wax dripping on the brain.
No, just a really big hole in his head, but it had skin.
Like a golf hole.
Yeah, I suppose a golf hole's a good way of looking at it.
Perfect for a candle, basically. And then the drippage went into
the hole.
Yeah.
Candle sort of stood up straight.
Yeah,
So was it in his forehead?
No, on the very top of his head.
that's perfect. You don't want it in the forehead, Steve. You'll have to walk back with
That'd
your
be
neck
ridiculous.
cricked.
So he was like a kind of human jack-o'-lantern.
He's a lighthouse man. What did you see? What
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I
better
forgot
description
about
do you
that.
need than the lighthouse man?
So yeah, he's probably at number 5.
Wow, that's at number 5, Steve.
Number 4.
What about pig-faced woman of Manchester Square?
Again, you're getting what it says in the tin there, aren't you?
Now, pig-faced woman of Manchester Square, is that someone you knew growing up?
No, it's a square in London,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's just this woman who had a face like a pig, and the rumour was
Yeah.
that it wasn't a woman. Someone said it was a pet bear and they'd shaved it. That's what that's what
Was
I've
this
heard.
someone?
Yes.
Was this someone you saw? Or
No,
did you
no,
just read
this
about
is going back.
This is years ago.
This is years and years ago.
Yeah.
When there was loads of like weird looking people. I mean, the fact that it's pig-faced woman of Manchester Square
Yeah.
says that there might have been one in
Piccadilly Circus?
yeah, whatever. So there was a lot more of them knocking about back then.
Let's assume that it was a woman, and the first one, you know, the lighthouse fellow, he's a human. Do you think people would object because of their disfigurement, deformity, bit like being called freaks? Do you think?
Well, it gave them a purpose back then. See, if you were a freak years ago, there was work for you. You'd have these circus things. Now, if you've got a funny head, you're on the dole. They don't do these
Or
side
working
shows.
with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant on the world's #1 audiobook. Great. Number 3?
What about Elephant Man?
Right.
Stick him at number 3. He's
Number 3.
He's surely the most famous freak ever to have lived, isn't he?
he's the one who got me into it.
Right. Yeah, sure. He's a sort of entry-level freak.
Yeah.
A gateway freak.
Everyone is aware of him.
If the Elephant Man still existed, right, and you got the opportunity to meet him, and you walked in, a couple of questions. 1, what would your first reaction be? And 2, what would you say to him? What would your first question be?
How would I react? Well, I've sort of seen him enough now that it wouldn't shock me. So I don't even think I'd flinch.
Okay.
I mean, like I said when I first saw you, that was a bit weird. But now look, I can look at you. I don't double take or anything. What would I say to him though? What? I'd probably say, where do you get that hat to fit you? He always had that on. Where do you get that from?
That sort of flat cap that he's got.
Yeah, that one, didn't he? So,
Very stylish.
so yeah, I'd have him. So he's at number 3.
Right. Elephant Man number 3. I can't wait for 2 and
yeah.
1. Right. Okay. Number
Well, I
2.
know what my number 1 is. It's just number 2 now. I don't know his name, but there's a fella knocking about. Well, I don't think he's around anymore. But he had like a normal body. Looking at him, you'd go, "What's up with him? He's not a freak." Takes his undies off. He's got 2 knobs.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, there's nowhere to start. Do you
don't
think
know.
he uses them alternately, like have a wee out of this one, have a wee out of that one, or does he just like spread the load so he's weeing out of both?
I don't think he knows.
What
I
do you
think
mean
it's
he doesn't
sort of
know?
like a lucky dip. When he goes to a urinal,
Yeah.
he can have a little bet with himself. He's just like, I don't know what's going to happen here.
So do you reckon he holds them
Holds
both
them
out?
both, definitely.
So he takes his trousers down because I mean, you know,
Yeah, he can't use a Y front.
right?
It'd be,
Need more like a W front.
Yeah. So he pops his kecks down there.
I don't think it's that much of a problem. It's not like.
Well, I don't know.
I'd prefer that than Elephant Man's head.
Well, of course you would.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What if you had Elephant Man's knob?
Yeah, but it didn't work like that, did it? That's the thing. They said he had the body of an elephant, but that's the only thing that wasn't of an elephant standard. His knob was normal. Whereas with this fella, it's the other way round. Everything normal. Take the pants off. Oh well, what's going on here?
But why would you ever take his pants off?
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying if...
But why? I don't know why you'd be in a situation with this man with two knobs standing there with his pants on and you go pop your pants off. You're not a doctor.
No, say if I'm waiting in a cubicle and he's there.
For what?
Sure, you're waiting in the cubicle.
I'm waiting to have a wee at a cubicle. He's
in the
taking
toilet.
2 urinals up and going,
Right.
hang on, you don't need them both, do you? He goes, well, actually,
Oh, and then
have a look at this.
right.
He's got 2 knobs.
See, I didn't see him at 2 urinals. I saw him at 1, maybe them pointing inwards.
If you had that, and say the first time that you met Suzanne, would you mention that straight up?
Would you say, right, before this goes any further, I've got something to show you?
Well, let's see. Tell me exactly what you would say. All right, Carl, I can't wait to go back to your place.
Oh, maybe we should end up sort of like a boyfriend and girlfriend and live together for the rest of our lives. You had normal head then, didn't you?
I had the same head, yeah.
Yeah, but it had, like, hair coming out of it, didn't it? And sort
Yeah,
of like...
yeah, but she also had a smaller arse back then as well, so I think we've both been dumb.
If you want to hear more of this kind of intellectual discussion, then download our audios. Anyway, we need to get to number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
Okay, it is.
It's Pillow Man.
Oh, yeah.
Pillow Man. Okay, now explain for those that don't know who he was.
He's a fella with no arms and legs, just a head and a little body. Nickname Pillow Man. What else do you need to know?
Well, why is he your favourite?
Just because he's amazing. Just the way he just got on with his life. He used to light a cig, just using his lips and his tongue and that.
Oh, I've
And
seen
not
this.
not fully lit. He'd buy like roll your own.
Yeah, it's in the film Freaks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he
He had a
rolls
shave
it.
as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How did he
Do you
have a
think
shave?
he used to do it? He used to get it in his mouth, and I don't know.
Jesus.
It's amazing. Did he have a knob?
I think he did because he had some kids.
What?
Yeah, he had kids. He was an all right looking fella. He wasn't odd looking. It's just
sorry?
that he had no, his head. He looked like Samuel L. Jackson. Imagine him with no arms and legs.
Right. That's odd, though, isn't it? Really?
It's weird, but you've got to give it to him. You know, I mean, he's there rolling his own. He's pretty cool looking.
I just want to say to people, it's not. You say it looks cool, to, you know, with no arms and no legs to smoke, but don't forget that smoking can stunt your growth.
Yeah, but yeah. Remember, he was on like this circus freak show thing with like a bearded woman,
Yeah.
right? Which isn't really a freak, is it? She should have had a shave. Have a shave, you're not a freak anymore.
Yeah.
A bearded woman, compared to a fella who's got no arms and legs, a bearded woman, you haven't, get out! But there was like a fella with no bottom half to his body, called Johnny Eck, was his name. So, you know, when you're knocking about with that crowd, you're gonna get a bit. You're gonna get a bit. So, yeah, he had kids, and they were all normal kids. They had all the limbs.
Did his
and
wife
everything.
had arms and legs?
Never saw his wife.
Never saw his wife.
I think
He was
he's
probably ashamed of her. She was a bit of a freak.
for someone like him. You'd think he'd just give up, wouldn't you? You think, forget it. What sort of life is it?
Yeah.
I'm like a Mexican jumping bean. It's not worth living. But he just got on with it. I mean, to have a shave, I don't even bother having a shave some days.
No. Nor did the bearded lady. Lazy fucking bitch.
So that's why I've put him at my number 1 position. It's just amazing, isn't it? The human, you know, how you know, whatever you dealt, some people just get on with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Pillow Man, or Draft Excluder, as I prefer to call him.
There you go. Oh.
I never go to the doctors unless it's really
That is sensible.
bad.
That is very good advice.
No.
That's brilliant advice
Well,
for
it is,
anyone
though.
listening. Never go to the doctors.
Unless it's really bad.
But that's why a lot of people, you know, die because they don't want to bother the doctor, or they're mildly embarrassed, or they don't know symptoms, bad symptoms. Go to the doctor if you're not sure about something. Like you were terrified to go and have your prostate.
Still not doing it.
Why not?
I wish you wouldn't talk about it, because now Suzanne will listen to this and she'll go, oh yeah, you haven't been, and start dragging it up again.
But why are you worried about a little a qualified doctor?
I don't know what they're doing up there.
What they
What
just
year are we in?
They what are you talking about? They pop their finger up.
That's what I mean, though.
Why?
Why are they still using the index finger?
What, would you prefer the forefinger or the thumb, would
No.
you?
No, what I mean is, we've got...
Or a thumb on a stick, some kind of thumb on a stick.
Yeah, would you prefer it to
A
be...
mechanical thumb, a robot thumb.
Why isn't it just a little camera?
Well, they put the camera up if they initially discover something.
But just put the camera up straight away. if I'm
No,
paying
they
for
don't
the
need
visit.
to. They pop the finger up, feel that the prostate isn't swollen, wiggle it around a little bit up your back passage. What are you worried about?
I don't think they need to do
Are
that.
you
in this
embarrassed?
day
Are
and
you
age.
embarrassed about being in a room with your trousers around your ankles and little fella popping
A
his...
little bit, yeah.
Why?
And the other thing is, it's not just that, is it? So you go in there, they check your heart out and that, which to me is the most important thing, because that's what keeps you going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? You've got to go there. You
Yeah.
sat on the bus, stressing out, thinking, oh, in less than half an hour, I'm going to have a finger up the arse, right?
What is the problem,
And they go
though?
in, they check your heart, they probably check your testicles and
What's
that.
up with that? They take your testicles, yeah?
Yeah,
That's...
but it's all building, and you've sat there going, oh, soon that'll be happening.
Yeah.
And that's what puts me off.
So if they just came round when you're asleep, Suzanne just let them in and goes, he's over there, right?
Yeah.
And they crept up and went, bang, you go, what are you
prefer
doing?
I just don't understand why they don't teach you how to do it yourself.
How can they...
Wow.
How can they teach... Imagine you squatting in a corner with one hand on your bollocks and the other finger up the arse going, it seems to be alright.
Carl, you don't understand the phrase "a stitch in time saves nine." I don't think you should be doing any kind of invasive medical research in your own human body.
But then...
Who knows what trouble you're going to cause?
No, but then at least...
You would get stuck.
Yeah.
You would get stuck.
Suzanne would come out, your fist would be up your own arse. Woke up at 9:55 a.m. Soon as I woke up, I looked at Suzanne and she looked at me. I said, "Did I tell you about..."
I just think of him opening his eyes and looking at him.
Okay, alright. Okay, so he opens his eyes, he looks at Suzanne, she looks at him. What question, Rick, do you think he immediately asks his girlfriend?
Go on.
What question do you
Well,
think?
I
Have a
can't-
quick guess.
Am I dreaming?
I woke up, I said to my girlfriend, "Did I tell you about..." I woke up, I looked at Suzanne, she looked at me. I said, "Did I tell you about the immune system?" Did I tell you about the immune system? Suzanne started laughing. I said, "It's amazing." She said, "Not now."
Oh God! I was thinking
He's
that.
springing into action, he zips up, his eyes are like... Did I tell you about the immune system? Oh, shut up, Carl. Put the kettle on.
Oh God! Oh fucking hell! More revelation. We were talking about it last week, but Carl brought it up again just now. Didn't want to go to the doctors. Didn't want to have a full sort of body checkup that may save his life because he saw on the website they do a test where they have to insert a finger in his arse.
Well, don't tell me about it.
Why?
Don't put it on the website. Just put, we look at your heart.
Yeah.
We check your blood pressure out.
Yeah.
And then they could just do it quickly. Could just sort of say, right.
How do they do it quickly?
No, but what I'm saying is, it's worse, isn't it? Going in there, knowing that, I mean, they've got it on the website. So you're on the journey on the bus thinking, in about 20 minutes I'm going to have a finger up my arm.
But they're doctors.
Yeah, but just
They're
tell
not
me
doing
when
it for a laugh. They're not filming it with a two-way screen. They're not putting on boxing gloves so it hurts more. They're up. Oh, it's
I just
prostate's
think
alright. Out again. Out again.
I'm just saying in the day, the sort of...
Do you think they're in the pub going, here he comes? It's Pilkington, I had my finger up his arse today.
Do they allow ladies to do that? Do they allow female doctors to
Of
do it?
course they do. They're doctors.
that's worse, though.
You're sounding like him.
No, I'm just interested in, because, you know, do they allow female doctors to do the finger up the arse thing?
Well, of course they do. They're doctors. Forget the female and male. They are doctors.
Right, do you know any female doctors to do that? But what I mean is, isn't it a bit like if you're being searched at an airport, you know, and you're a woman, they send in a woman person to search you. They don't send in a bloke to do it. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, they probably trust someone who's gone through 6 years medical college not to be taking the piss as opposed to a fat security guard who couldn't get anything else. Do you know what I
What are
mean?
you talking about? There's doctors all the time coming out in the papers, oh, they gave them this, so they could look at their boobs or whatever, or, you know, it's all
Well,
you're always hearing stuff about dodgy doctors.
But what I'm saying is, the reason why they do that security, because there's lots of security people, and they can, you know, for your own, you know, for the, you know, your own modesty. There's a female one to search females and a male one to search males, and that's fine. But there's not like 4 or 5 GPs to choose from, and you go in there and you go, is it your arse and testicles? You want a bloke or you know, you accept it.
Long fingernails.
They don't have long fingers. What do you think this female GP looks like? She's sitting behind the desk like Cruella de Vil with cleavage and long red false nails, going, "Hello, love, bend over. This may hurt a little bit." There's gloves and Vaseline. I don't believe there's 2 of you now in the room, Carl. They're doctors. They have to. What would you rather do than put the hand down your throat and round your alimentary canal to feel your ass? It's a quicker way in.
You seem to know a lot about these doctors who stick fingers up people's asses. You're a very well-informed gentleman about this sort of thing.
Well, say if they did find something,
Yeah.
would you then have to get, like, a second opinion, so someone else's finger?
Well, no. They test it to see if there's anything suspicious. That it's usually a swollen prostate, which can be anything. So they, you know, they catch it early, and that's it. They feel up there.
But if you want a second opinion, then the same doctor will just stick a thumb up and have a feel around then. So it always works in the same way.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a doctor who can, I don't know, put me at ease. I mean, surely there's another way around it. I don't believe that. I mean, what is this? 60 million people or something in the world, isn't there? 60 billion or something?
Well,
6 billion, something.
Yes, you got it.
Right.
You hit it. Well done.
That's good work.
Right, so yeah, there's 6 billion, did I say?
Yeah, what's 6 billion then?
Loads, isn't it?
Yeah, but
So if you want a doctor to phone up to assure you that the finger at the bum thing's not painful and that it's necessary, and
Just
that
that
it's
it's
not just someone
necessary,
trying to get
really.
kicked.
Just that it's not an easy way round.
Alright,
You
what's
know
the
what I
phone
mean?
number here?
It's, changed, haven't they?
oh, for
You're the
Hang on,
producer!
here it is. 0871 222 1049, and I think you select option 1. It tells you anyway what to do.
please, if you're a GP, or if, you know, even if you've completed medical, I mean, we want a qualified doctor, really. Anything else is not good enough for Karl Pilkington. Just we'd love to, you can ask him all the other questions, because you know, Karl, as I said last week, he doesn't, feel his own testicles, because he doesn't like the feel.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd like a doctor to explain to him how necessary that is.
And this is truthful as well, I've got very slight pain around the genital area at the moment, and I think it might be some kind of groin strain, but I'm a little bit anxious, not entirely sure
Yeah,
what it is. so-
you've been with me twice when I've gone along to get them checked.
Yeah.
I go, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, but, you know, it's usually, I think you're in a pretty low risk, aren't you?
I'd hope so.
You're coming out of the 20s. I think testicular sort of, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm not qualified. They told, all they said was to me sort of like his 20s and 50s.
Mine-
So we're into it.
Mine sort of felt like they dropped a bit the other week when I was on holiday. I don't know if that's like when you're relaxing or I was wearing shorts a lot.
How far? If it's 2 foot, it's too far.
I was having problems walking.
What do you mean? Why?
It was just a bit, I had shorts on all day, I'm happy, I'm walking about on the beach, what have you. And then, at the night, when I put some long trousers on, I was sort of walking like a rickets.
They probably like stretch a little bit. Sometimes, I told you when I was about 18, I was scared. I went to the doctor. I felt a pain, right? And because I was doing biology, I thought I'd show off this doctor. I said, I've got a pain. I think it feels like it starts in the epididymis and goes up through the urethra either. And he went,
Finger up the arse.
he said, your jeans are too tight. They're squashing your balls.
One of the most striking art exhibitions that I ever attended, Carl, was an exhibition of outsider art. Something I'm sure you're very familiar with. Outsider art, of course, is work that is made by people who are often institutionalized for mental health problems, or they are just incredibly, you know, the people who aren't in any way part of the art establishment.
Well, they're right up to psychopathic murderers, clinically insane mass murderers would count as outsider art. I went to an outsider art exhibition in New York. It was incredible, and I bought a painting of this guy. He's a chronic schizophrenic, and he paints in tar, like road tar that he gets from roads, and he paints in that on wood he finds in sort of skips, and it's incredible because it's sort of like scratched in. And it's amazing, and there's this thing of Jesus being helped down off the cross, and you have to study it, but it's there, and it's quite incredible that it's just scratched in this wood by tar. And there's loads of things that I was walking around. Admittedly, I was walking around there going, "This is fucking mental," and James was going, "You've got to stop saying that," because of course some of the people are mental. There was one bloke who done a sculpture of a skull, right? And underneath, it was like a little head with his teeth. Underneath, he put a sign that said "real teeth." Where did he get the real teeth from?
What I think's interesting about that is how much therapy it provides for these often mentally unstable people, which is another important value of art, of course. People's self-expression, people being able to give a little piece of themselves through their work. Do you not see any value in that? How do you express yourself?
Whistle.
You whistle.
Yeah, I found over Christmas I whistled a lot more than I usually do, and I think that was just freedom.
What do you mean freedom?
Right,
freedom.
expand on this point if you would.
Well, that's what art is, isn't it? It's you being free of all the world's heaviness on your shoulders.
See, that's a great quote. That's great. That for art is freedom. I love that because I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. You know, some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just take us through a typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now, I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly, it's when we were playing Scrabble. And they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio.
You've got boiler problems down in Kent as well?
It works, it just gives something off. Every time it kicks in, the radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
And what kind of things would you be whistling?
It was like, I just sort of did a whistle medley. It was going from one thing to another.
A Wedley.
And a man was impressed. She was like, "Oh, you can whistle, can't you?" I was going, "Yeah." And then she was saying, "How loud can you go?" I was just doing all different levels.
Sorry, this sounds like a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The boiler's setting off the radio. I can whistle. Oh, you're good whistling, aren't you? Oh, yeah, Scrabble. Talk about outsider art.
I love the fact that Carl's life is like living in a home when you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
But you felt that this was your way of expressing yourself.
I just found it odd because I don't whistle that much. I think just because I think I'm fed up most of the time when I'm in London, and you don't whistle when you're fed up. Whistling's a happy thing. You never get an angry man suddenly breaking into a
Well,
whistle.
the people who aren't whistling are usually pissed off. But yeah, the bloke who's whistling, it's like, it's the least. He's the least annoyed person in the room when someone's whistling. Same as holding a drill. The only person that noise doesn't annoy is the bloke who's drilling. Everyone else wants to punch his face in. Same with whistling. Whistling, there's no point in whistling.
No, there is.
No, there's not. The only point to whistling is in a bloke's changing room. Everyone's whistling, going, "I'm not looking at your cock." If I'm whistling, I can't be looking at your cock. Anything else? There's no calling a dog. Maybe calling a dog
Changes the atmosphere.
Yeah, it annoys everyone else.
Don't know. I mean, our window cleaner was known as like, that's how you knew he was there. He always whistled. And in the end, he fell off his ladder, broke his front teeth.
Oh.
Retired.
What, because he couldn't whistle?
That was it. It was like,
Well, he
can't
whistled
whistle,
all the time.
Can't whistle,
Well, yeah.
can't clean windows. It's a bit tragic.
Could he take along a whistle? Just pop that in his mouth.
Yeah, I suppose he could have done. I didn't think of that.
What about a flute? Or a recorder? Not London's burning again. Fucking clean the windows and then fuck off.
He didn't really think this through, did he? He retired at the age of 28. And his whole family were bankrupt.
With no teeth.
Yeah.
And just a
Why
bucket and a
aren't you
squeegee.
working, Dad? Because I can't whistle.
I can't whistle anymore. And if the day you give up whistling is the day I give up window cleaning.
So you never whistle?
No.
I can't really whistle very well. No.
I don't whistle, but I can whistle better than that.
What, you did this for hours on end while playing Scrabble?
About 2 hours.
2 hours?
Hell.
Put my word down.
And
then,
sorry, can we just hear that again? Can we hear it?
So you were
that
whistling. You were whistling after you had your go as well.
yeah.
Fucking hell, Carl.
But hang on, let's just hear a bit. That is Carl's self-expression. That is his artistic self-expression right there.
Inane. No tune, no nothing.
There's mental patients who have smeared canvases with shit who have expressed more than you have in that.
Yeah, but it's not about other people. I'm not there to please other people.
You're there to annoy him.
What was the best word you came up with in Scrabble?
Don't knock me at Scrabble, because I do alright. What's weird is, when I play Scrabble, my brain can come up with words that I don't normally say.
Okay, this isn't... No, I'm intrigued here. Your brain can come up with words you wouldn't normally say.
Just words that I'd never drop into a sentence.
Tree, cat.
Go on.
Squirm. That's using a Q. It's worth 10, that. It's not bad, is it? No, I'd never say that.
I've never heard you... I don't think I've ever heard you say squirm, no. I don't think you're right, Carl. I've never heard you say squirm.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird.
And yet your brain popped that one out?
And then, yeah, when it wasn't my go, just... Anyway, so that's sort of doing art for yourself as opposed for other people.
I don't think you can count what you just did then as art. Hobby maybe, craft, pastime. I don't think you can count that as art. I'm not being funny. I'm being a bit snobby here. But I think there's a difference between Beethoven and... Squirm. There's a cue in that.
No. Classical music. I wish I was more educated on classical music. That which I've heard, I've adored. I genuinely find it challenging because it is so spectacular. It is so of another place. Where do you sit with classical music?
It's good. It's good for background, I think.
Right.
See, you know me. I like a song with a story, and there's nothing going on in them. That's
Now the problem with that is, how many times can you hear the same story?
quite a lot. How many times can you watch the same film? Same thing, except it's shorter than watching a film.
Yeah, but the film goes into the story with more depth than a 3-minute song.
Yeah, but there's also... Do you know, like, when you watch... what's an example? Say, I can't think of a film.
Yeah, there's not many.
No, but a moment in a film that it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you go, I enjoyed that bit.
Godfather springs to
Well,
mind.
say, no, over Christmas, On the Buses was on the movie.
Jesus.
You went with the Godfather, you went with On the Buses. I mean, Brando, Varney, I don't know which is better.
It was the bit where, like, the toilet blows up after chucking a fag in. That's had paint in it.
Right, sorry,
seen
that's in All the Buses, that's not in the Godfather. I can't remember that. Maybe that's Godfather 2.
Well, the thing is, I enjoyed that bit and I knew it was coming. It's like, oh, I'll just watch this before I nip out and put the kettle on. Let's just see this
How
bit.
many times have you seen the On the Buses film?
Probably about 4 or 5 times.
Sure, why not?
But all I'm saying is, music is there to sing over.
No, it's not!
Music is there to sing over.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Music does something to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know why a chord can say something to you. I don't know, mate. Gives you that feeling. I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of musicians.
Yeah.
My favourite piece of music is a thing by Vaughan Williams. It's 5 variants of Dives and Lazarus, right? And there's a bit there where it hits this chord, and I can't listen to it when I'm away from home because I well up. It reminds me of everything. England, just it does something to me, and it does it on a level that I can't sort of quite understand. It's just immaculate.
I just don't think you can beat a decent vocal on top of that.
Oh, that's amazing!
My mum's got a CD of Roger Whittaker, right?
Right, whistling again.
Now, he whistles Jealous Guy. Now, the thing is, I can't listen to that and whistle along. I end up singing Jealous Guy on top of it.
So, singing trumps whistling?
Yeah, when someone else is doing the whistling.
Okay.
I like whistling, but if someone else did that first...
So
then
if
I'm
Roger was singing Jealous Guy, you'd be
I'd
whistling.
probably whistling it. To make the classics live on, I'm surprised someone hasn't gone, I can add to this, and dub on a bit of vocal.
So you would have classical music with lyrics.
Just for people
Beethoven's
who want that.
Fifth. Beethoven's Fifth. That would be better to you. That would.
But what are you meant to do with it? What do you do when you've got that on? Then do you whistle along? Or
No,
do
I
you
don't whistle
hum,
along.
Hum?
I let it. Oh,
Do you
Carl,
whistle along?
I just don't know what to say.
Why are you obliged to whistle? That's the only way you can enjoy music, if you can whistle along.
Well, that's the same with anything. A good song, you join in, don't you? It's like, oh, I like this one.
No.
So by that token, YMCA is one of the greatest of all tunes.
I mean, it's not one of my favourites, but you can't knock it. It certainly gets the crowd up. I did DJing, and
Why do you care
that
about
was
the
more
crowd?
popular.
Who are this crowd?
Well, I'm just saying.
Who are this crowd that you have to live in your head with? Fuck the crowd. Most of them are idiots.
Although, admittedly, if I was doing a wedding DJing set, I probably would do YMCA over Vaughan Williams.
And why is that? Because it's happier-go-lucky. It's done in 3 minutes. Classical music goes on for ages. It
No, it's a
fades
good
out,
point.
Who's got
fades
time?
out, it comes back in again. Well,
It's a good point.
it's all over the shop.
Are
Yeah.
you going or are you staying?
It's over time, and I'm not saying we should get rid of it, and I might grow into it, because I think that's music for older people.
Well,
You're an idiot.
I think Mozart would disagree. I think he did his first symphony when he was 5 or 6. Probably playing piano and writing music before you could read.
When did the piano come out when he was a kid?
What do you mean?
If it was trendy to have a piano when he was a kid, it's like how kids now, they're messing about on Google at the age of 2 because the laptop is new. It's new to us. To them, it's like, oh, it's Google, innit?
What's your point?
Because he was born at the right time.
Beethoven.
Yeah, he was
No,
born.
Mozart. So you're saying
Mozart.
that all 3-year-olds around the time of Mozart were brilliant?
There would have been quite a lot of them. Mozart, Beethoven, all that. They're all Handel. They're all around the same time, aren't they?
Just guessing. Wild stabs in the dark. Just names he's heard. Just names he's heard. So when Ricky was young, when I presume Rolf Harris's stylophone came out, everyone was composing on the stylophone.
Yeah,
weren't they?
exactly.
It's all what you brought up with, isn't it? Nothing's hard if you're given it when you're a kid. Nothing's difficult. It can be taught all sorts. I haven't got room for a piano. It's too big for a pastime. A hobby shouldn't take up a whole corner of a room.
It's so limited, isn't it? His scope, his imagination.
But a piano, the idea that a piano in a house would be a frustration and annoyance.
Music.
That you could play
harmony.
But I'd worry about annoying other people with it as
No,
well.
you don't. You whistle. When you're playing Scrabble, you don't worry about annoying people at all. I'm sure people would rather have gentle piano music in the background than... Squirm. Squirm. So one of the earliest and most celebrated art forms that's, you know, along with painting and music still going today, is the play. And of course, the most famous and celebrated exponent of that is our very own William Shakespeare. Some say maybe the greatest literary genius in history. I'm not a fan,
Right.
and I'll tell you why I'm not a fan. One reason and one reason only.
Sure.
Nothing to do with the structure, his themes, fantastic. The pun.
Right.
Oh, I can't stand the pun.
Yeah, but I mean, although Shakespeare did include a few puns in his work, I don't think you could...
No, I suppose it's the people
It's
that
not
have
gonna
taken
bring
on
you
the
down.
pun. It just reminds me of a bloke in a beard and a pipe at a party doing puns. You know, and it's things like Shakespeare, things like oh, take their maidenheads, and you have to look at your Brody's notes to go, okay, cut off their heads and take their virginity. Oh, brilliant. You know, you can't. It's like you can't explain a joke in retrospect. You don't laugh if you then explain to you.
I'm going to have to take issue with the idea that Shakespeare was not a truly great master of our language.
I think he was.
If you listen- if
he
you
added
listen
to the language. He invented words, or at least he stole words and changed them a bit. He took them from, you know, other languages, which is totally valid. And he made up loads of sayings that are still around today. And there's a poetry in that, inventing new. Actually, Carl, you like sayings, don't you? I've got a list here of some of the sayings and phrases that Shakespeare made up. Really, in a pickle was his.
Yeah,
And we know what in a pickle
yeah, we
means.
know what it means. It's a saying I'd never use, because when you're in a pickle, it's not something that you would say.
No, if you're being if you're captured and you're being tortured for information,
Yeah,
you wouldn't, and you get access to a phone, you wouldn't go, MI5, I'm in a pickle. You'd be screaming, going, he's taking my teeth out.
Much as I love Shakespeare, is when that play was first staged and someone said during the play, "Ooh, I'm in a pickle," did the audience understand, or were they baffled?
Or was it like watching Ken Dodd when he goes, young bunctious?
Exactly.
Oh, totally hilarious.
yeah.
So Shakespeare is about as good as Ken Dodd.
That's what we appear to have established. While you've been talking about that, I just was looking on the computer at the Pun of the Day website, because I feel I take much of what you say about puns and agree with it. There's a couple that you might like. There was a sign on the lawn at a drug rehab centre that said, keep off the grass.
Okay, now if the pun is the lowest form of wit, and let's face it, sarcasm isn't, sarcasm is up there compared to the pun, then the drug pun, I think, is one of the lowest of the low. Oh, people who congratulate themselves on getting drug references. Keep off the grass, will you? Grass, get it? Grass. You know, smoking the grass, yeah.
Show me a piano falling down a mine shaft, and I'll show you a flat minor.
Oh, God. Okay, good. Okay.
Do you get that?
Well, these are... I mean, that sums up puns, isn't it? It's things that kids get in a cracker. I think pun should be short for punch him in the mouth.
Idioms are better.
Go on then, what's an idiom? Is that a new word you made up?
No,
As in Karl Pilkington's a complete idiom.
I found out what it was because I thought, oh, I like them. What are they?
Right.
And it's like little sayings.
Yeah, that's right.
That sum stuff up.
Go on, give us an example of your favourite.
Oh, can I just say one, talking about sayings, Carl was getting fed up with something. He was fed up with not getting replies from something. He's having a hard time, you know. And, I went, oh, the worm has turned. He went, what? I went, the worm has turned. You know, you've...
Stupid saying, isn't it?
No, well, okay, tell him why you think that's a stupid saying.
Because how do you know when a worm's turned? Of all the creatures that you could flip over and know it's turned, why pick a worm? It's the worst thing they could have picked to express something turning.
But you're turning literally. It means changing, doesn't it? Changing your attitude. A new broom, turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, but
things
then
are going to
use
be
something that
different now, and
changes.
I'm sick of it.
Chameleon.
No, but
Chameleon is a brilliant thing to use for something to change. Chuck that in a sentence. There's nothing that you can link a worm to human life to. You're talking about something that's... It's blind, isn't it? It's blind, it's deaf.
Gay.
It's got no features.
Why is he having such a go at a worm?
Just because it's a weird thing to use. Something that... Its arse is more... It does more than its head.
That could be said of you, Carl, to be fair.
We've talked about what art is, we've talked about painting, sculpture, we've talked about music briefly, we've talked about whistling over music to make it better. Poetry. A completely different type of art form there. Carl, what's your thoughts on poetry?
I've never really been a fan of it.
There's a surprise.
I think it's sort of... it's alright for the person who's doing it. You know, you say that whistling is just for the whistler. But I think poetry's more like that, because sometimes you read it and you're thinking, what's he going on about? It's always a bit... I don't know, it's sold in a bad light. It's a bit sort of... a bit gay, innit?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it depends what sort you're talking about, because maybe there's poetry out there that I haven't heard.
There's some poetry gayer than others.
Yeah.
War poetry can't be gay, can it? That was people...
I haven't heard... Go on.
People fighting in the trenches, and... That can't be gay. They weren't gay. They were writing to their sweetheart. I don't know his name. It might have been a bloke. I don't know. But
so was it a sort of a... what sort of poem was it? Was it a sort of a limerick, sort of a...
No, it was well, there's famous ones, Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon, and they're very moving. They're about what usually happens is that they talk about why are we here. This is, you know, we've been sold a lie here, you know, and they really started seeing war in a different light from their point of view in the trenches. Famously, some of them died soon after the, you know.
But I prefer a proper letter. No sort of crypticness. That's the problem with poems.
Okay, so you'd have been disappointed to get Dulce et Decorum Est through the post, would you? You'd have just said, "What are you trying to say, mate? What's the weather like? When you're coming home? Did you get my socks?"
Well, yes. Sometimes life is a bit like that, and it's like, say what you mean.
Right. Well, then you have just wiped all art off the face of the earth if you literally just say what you mean.
No, I'm just saying in a letter. Say if I was a woman and my fella was fighting in a war.
Right. What's your fella's name?
Harry.
Okay, so Harry. Oh, that's right. So when were you married?
About 1935.
1935. So you've been married about 4 years.
Yeah.
Harry, why don't you go off? Oh, you're a woman, aren't you?
Yeah.
You don't. Okay. So what did you see in Harry? Why did you like Harry? Was he?
He just was like funny.
Butch.
He wasn't that butch, but that
No.
didn't matter back then, did it? In the war,
No. And you.
he took everyone.
But what did you say when Harry said to you?
Well, I thought it was coming. because a lot of our friends ended up having
Did you
to
just
go
hug
there.
him and say, don't go, or something?
No point, because that would have just made it tough for him. So I just... What's the point? Just go with it.
But if he
I
had
cried
written-
after he went.
You cried after he went.
That's what you do, innit? You wouldn't do it in front of him. He's got to go to battle.
Okay, so your man goes off to battle.
Right. Then I get a letter from the Colonel saying, "Oh, bit of bad news. Harry's dead." Now I get a letter in the post.
He said what he meant, didn't he? In the
Well, yeah, and they would do, wouldn't they? They wouldn't fanny around saying, "Oh, he was on the warpath and the cloud went dark." I go, "What? Just tell me what happened. I don't want a weather forecast."
he got shot at the arse and the bullet came out his head.
Right. Now, the Colonel, he would just tell me the basics. Now, because he sent his by
Telegram.
telegram, they sent a telegram. The letter I get from Harry has been stamped, so I get it late.
Oh, okay.
So I get a letter from Harry after he's died.
Yeah.
Right, and you know he's dead.
I know he's dead, so I get
Right.
this letter with his handwriting on. I'm devastated because I was just getting over his death.
Yeah.
It's all brought back to me when this letter drops through the post.
Well, yeah, 3
Right.
days and you're pretty much over it.
It's Harry's handwriting.
Yeah?
Oh God, what's this?
What's
Now
he
I
written?
open it,
Yeah.
and instead of saying things are bad here, socks are damp, you know, everything's grim, it's cold, I'm sick of it. There's a poem. It wouldn't feel like it was from Harry.
Well, what,
Because it's not in his words. Poems are never in the person's words.
But didn't you know Harry was a poet when you married him and made love to him
No, I
that
only
night?
picked it up because other people were doing it. It's something to do in the trenches.
But when he carried you over the threshold, Carl, and he laid you down and gently kissed you, didn't he say any? Didn't he ever? Show
You must have whispered some sweet nothings into
No, it
your
wasn't
hysterical
like
red
that. It
head.
wasn't
No,
like that. Straight
no.
to the point. It was like, get your knickers off.
That's one of the weirdest fucking scenarios I've ever heard. Why the fuck was the telegram coming before the letter? So specific. It wasn't like Harry. The fuck's Harry? Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! There are a few things gayer than poetry, though. I want to throw one into the pot. The continental breakfast.
Oh.
The continental breakfast. That annoys me when I see it. Who orders that? If you've got the choice of eggs, beans, burger,
Sausage.
chips, sausages,
Bacon.
all that, you've paid for it already. If I was a waiter and someone said, what do you want for breakfast, mate? And the bloke went, oh, I just have a little bit of grapefruit juice and a croissant. I go, do you? Do you want some cum on that? Or are you going to go back to the hotel room and suck a cock?
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm with you there.
What else is gayer than poetry? I remember when I was at school once, right? The worst thing you could be growing up was gay.
Yeah.
In school, it was the worst thing. It was and I remember I was about 14, 15. I was talking to this bloke. I talk about him on my stand-up. David Beasley. He's the one that said if you get captured by cannibals, they show you pornographic pictures when you're in the pot, so you get an erection. And there's more meat to go around. So he was an idiot. He made Carl look smart.
Wow.
Really.
Wow.
He said, you know that thing that kids always do, what would you rather be, blind or deaf?
Yeah.
We did that, and we discussed that for a while, and he went, what would you rather be, blind or queer?
Mm.
And I went, well, I'd rather be gay, because...
Still got all your sights, yeah.
And he went, oh, would you? I went, well, yeah, well, rather than be blind. I said, yeah, I said, also, if you were gay... you'd like being gay. He went, I wouldn't. I went, no, you would. I said, if you were gay, you would like being gay. He went, I wouldn't, Gervais. Sounds like you would. I went, well, if I was gay, I would like being gay. He went, well, I wouldn't. And he looked at me accusingly, and I went, no, nor would I, but gays would. Which made no sense at all.
Right, yeah.
Just the idea, but this is just like such a stonewall that I'd rather be anything than gay.
Yeah.
Carl, thoughts? Blind or gay?
This is about art, is it?
Hello, I'm Ricky Gervais. Philosophy is the science which considers truth. So said Aristotle, one of the great forefathers of Western philosophy. In its attempt to seek out the truths and principles of human existence, philosophy must answer questions of beauty, of justice, of language, indeed, of the mind itself. To help me consider some of the core concepts and presumptions of philosophical inquiry, I'm joined by Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick, an award-winning writer.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no education, didn't really go to school, no awards, head like a fucking orange, you know the twat.
Alright.
To me, philosophy might be the greatest subject of all academic subjects, the mother of science, asking the big questions, why are we here, how do we live? But it's been sort of mugged and kidnapped by those people who put rubbish under the umbrella of philosophy.
Right.
Cod philosophy. I went into a library once, I looked in the philosophy section, and there was a book by Doris Stokes.
Doris Stokes being, for those that don't know,
A medium who said she was talking to the dead. There's crystals, feng shui.
Feng Shui, yeah.
Oh, God.
The interesting thing about Feng Shui is how, I remember someone came to an office I was working in once and she said, you're going to need crystal here above the lavatory to get all the negative chi out of the cistern, and she said, this crystal is £25. And the guy went, we're not going to spend that. And she went, okay, I got one here for £5.
Brilliant.
It was surprisingly convenient that she had a number of different crystals that apparently did the same job.
We're also going to need a brush to get the shit out of the toilet. What have you got for that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that twaddle. There was a woman I remember once, I used to do a radio show on the BBC World Service, and she came in and she could tell from the coloured liquids that you chose, from a big selection of coloured liquids, she could tell a lot about your personality from that. So I picked up about 3 or 4, and she looked at them and I chose like a blue one, just arbitrary, and she looked at me and she said, okay, I get the sense that you like to communicate with people, but on a global level.
You were working for the World Service.
As we spoke, we were broadcasting on the World Service. I don't know where, I mean, she just read it from the liquids. As a novice, one of the key catchphrases, if you like, of philosophy, and one that's always intrigued and confused me a little, is the famous René Descartes quote, I think, therefore I am. A lot of people think of that as the epitome, in a way, of a philosophical statement. First
Thing we ever did, I think, at degree level, and it's the one thing I'd already heard of. It's one of those things that sort of filters down, cogito ergo sum, as you say, I think therefore I am, when Descartes was pondering his existence. Just before we get to his conclusion, Karl, how do you know this isn't a dream?
Just because I haven't been sleeping that well.
right,
No,
okay.
no, but you could still be dreaming, couldn't you? Because this could be a dream that you haven't been sleeping lately. You could be dreaming the last few nights you haven't been sleeping.
In dreams, they're different, like, I mean, like I say, I don't have that many of them because I don't sleep that well. But when I do have one, there's something different and vivid about it. Now, if I was dreaming all this, I reckon my boiler would have been fixed ages ago. I don't think anyone has a dream that goes on for that amount of time.
Well, it could be a nightmare, but the presumption, I think you're also presuming that the dream that you could be dreaming needs to be exactly the same as the dreams you think of when you're dreaming. My point is, there's no way of you knowing that this life you're living now as you talk to us is real, and that it's not actually the imaginings of another Karl somewhere else.
There are actually no clues, Karl. There are actually no clues now that this is the real thing.
Well, most of the time, it's 1 minute I'm awake, next minute I'm asleep, then I'm awake again.
Yeah.
Sleep's just...
You know the bit between you being awake and awake again, that's called a sleep.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever think things while you're asleep?
Vivid things.
It's that bit between the awake and awake I
but
want to look at.
I told you about one ages ago
Go on.
where you burst in and I was on the toilet.
I never heard this dream.
The one that it was like everyone was German and it was at some gig or something, and you opened the door and everyone was looking and laughing at me, and I'm sat on the toilet, and you sort of said, "Oh, that's probably because you're uncomfortable with
Fame.
being put on the limelight."
Yeah,
or whatever."
that you might be. Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
But that's one dream that could be true.
But didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Or there is a likelihood that you think, I bet he's going to burst in.
I am always on edge when you're about, when I use the toilet here.
Yeah,
I kind of think, is he busy at the moment?
You have to wait till he's on the phone to go for a piss.
I have to sit there holding the lock.
Yeah.